Hey, reviews.
Back in here, yo.
Bounce. Mile.
22.
Dos. Our main star of this film, Mark Wahlberg.
Marky Mark. He had the funky bunch, so it's okay.
Man. So let me just tell you, I was already prepared to watch a action-packed type of film.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what we got.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't have really huge expectations for it. I saw like a few trailers, but I didn't really know what the whole movie was about.
I will say I didn't have super high expectations for the film. So right off the bat, casting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Right? I'm like, oh, home chick from Walking Dead.
Yeah, Matt, they blew Baggy in there.
And I think it's Iko Uwais. He's been in a couple different movies that I've watched that I really liked. Namely, The Raid and The Raid 2. Both of which are like super high end, like kind of like basically like martial arts kind of flicks, or like beat 'em ups is what I like to call them, right? Not that great of a plot on either one, but great action.
Right.
So I was like, oh, he's gonna be in a movie? And then Ronda Rousey. I mean, she did a good job for what her role was.
Yeah. I mean, they threw her in right. They found the right fit for her in the role wise. They didn't like give her too much. It didn't seem as
forced as when she was in the Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
She seemed a little bit more at home in this, which is good. Definitely better. And then John Malkovich.
Yeah.
That seems like an odd casting for this, but it works.
Yeah, it does. Like, this is role, it works, though.
Yeah, it works. Like, what is he doing in this? But, I mean, he's kind of like the Overwatch, team leader person that, that's what they show you in the trailers. So aside from good casting, I would say in this one, overall plot of this film, without giving away spoilers or anything like that, I actually thought was really good because it does seem like it's kind of like a spy thriller, but then you're not sure if it's a spy thriller because you're not really sure if they're technically spies. They're supposed to be like the third option, well, when you don't want your government to do it and you don't want, the CIA to do it, who is also part of your government, which I thought was kind of weird.
Basically saying when they fail, we do it.
Or if you don't want these people involved, then they do it.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to tie them back to anything, right? So I thought that was interesting because it's kind of like the secret agent, not so secret agent kind of style. So it was good. I liked it. What would you say this film didn't do well, in your opinion? What didn't you like about it?
For the most part, I mean, I liked most of it. I don't think there was really like that many slow booms. In the beginning, it was a little slow. And I'm thinking, okay, is it going to sort of be like this? And they picked up once they started picking up with the action, it kind of just stayed with the intensity and that action. And it didn't really lull at any point after that. Which, I mean, it gave it a good build up in the story, gave you little clues and hints here and there if you were able to pick them up, which is actually pretty good. So I don't really think they failed too much. I mean, there's maybe small little like plot points or certain little things in here where like, maybe they shouldn't have done that, or they could have done that, but for the most part, it wasn't like a big, deal breaker or anything.
The thing that I would say maybe could have been a little bit better is there's moments in the film where there's like side chatter or talking, mostly when Lauren Cohan is like having like arguments with her like divorced husband or whatnot, I have you. Like, I don't know if you really need that to push the characters forward. However, there are callbacks to it later on in the film that I say kind of pay off, but I don't know if you really needed to hear all the conversation leading up to that. They did a lot of, this is more like a psychological kind of like war/spy movie. It's hard to define this one kind of because technically what they're doing, if you're paying attention, they're setting up psych profiles for people. Like they're introducing like, hey, this is this character and this is how this character acts.
Yes.
Right? At the same time, they're doing a really good job of providing information like, here's this person, here's their small role. Technically, they're like expendable, right? Like right off the bat, you can tell that from the trailers that not everyone's gonna make it because this is technically that third option ghost unit. If you get caught, right? There's that whole trailer that they initially have for the rollout of Mile 22. So you already know somebody's got to go.
Yes.
And I also think of Catch 22 as well, right? so from that, that's the only really negative I have on it.
Yeah.
Aside from that, it's done really well.
Yeah, that's pretty well.
Let's see. Anything else before we get to spoilers? Because I kind of really want to get to spoilers. Oh, man. Some of the fight scenes.
Yeah, some of the action scenes and some of the fight scenes, they do really well in terms of the hand-to-hand combat.
Yeah.
And then even when they get into different action,
gunplay.
The gunplay. I mean, it's not like all those movies where like they're just constantly firing and people are missing. It's like we're not wasting bullets around.
Even the bad guys are actually not that bad of a shot.
Yeah, like they're not wasting bullets.
Yeah,
so,
usually bad guys have the whole what I like to call the stormtrooper syndrome, where they're shooting repeatedly, and the bad guys are just like pew 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 pew, and the good guys are like just not getting hit at all whatsoever. The good guys are like barely not getting hit.
Yeah.
So a lot of them, without giving away spoilers, there is fire headed in their direction, and if they don't take cover, they are gonna get shot.
Yes.
And it's not just like random fire either. It's kind of calculated fire. Like you can tell they're trying to hit them.
Yeah.
And there's no silly like misfire like, brrr, and you just see everything hit above them, right?
Yeah.
Like 5 feet off.
No, that's like
It's like, oh snap! It's like, oh, I almost got hit. So I appreciate the gunplay in there. I appreciate the choreography for fights. Let's get down to what are you gonna rate this one from a scale of 1 to 5, Ian? What would you rate Mile 22?
I give it a solid 4.
Okay.
Solid 4. I mean,
right.
it was surprisingly good, so that's why I like it. When movies you don't expect to be good, it's surprisingly good. Has a nice ending, which I mean, I love nice endings. So that right there works it up for me. Gets a good 4.
All right. I, on the other hand, am also gonna give it a 4. I do actually think this is one that you should check out. In the theater, I felt it was good. Like I saw it in the Dolby Cinema one, so there's like bullets whizzing by overhead and all that good stuff. So it added to the intensity, which they kind of use in the form of showing everyone's like heart meters and stuff on the team. They kind of build up the intensity of the scene. Like, oh, this person's really calm in the beginning of a gunfight, and all of a sudden their vitals are like all over the place, back and forth for like if they're taking fire, if they're not taking fire. So it's kind of interesting. Kind of makes you kind of understand the level of intensity of each scene. So it was cool. Not that it hasn't been done before, but I like the way that they did it.
Yes, they did a good job with it.
Yeah, their take on it I liked a lot better than other films that I've seen where they do something similar. So check it out. Looks like we got 4 across the boards.
4 stars.
Not quite a 5. For me, it would need just a few more elements for it to be into that category, but definitely a watch for sure.
Yes.
Now I know there are critics out there, or some things that I've seen where it's kind of got mediocre ratings or kind of like so ratings. Hey, I don't know what you want. It's an action film. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not
Go in for an action film.
Yeah.
It gives you a good action film.
And overall plot was really good. It was it's not an amazing plot, but it's not a bad plot either. It's actually a pretty good plot. So yeah, check it out. And it's spoiler time. Spoilers. Like rotten food. Shout outs to Rotten Tomato. All right, spoilers. Mark Wahlberg dies.
Yo.
Oh my gosh.
Just right in the face.
No, not really. So you can tell right off the bat that he does not die because they have an interlude to where you can clearly tell that he's talking to
after the events. He's talking after the events. He's giving like an interview of what's going on. I mean, at first you don't realize it, but then as he starts talking more and you go back to it, you realize.
And you can see that he's clean shaven.
Yeah,
that was a takeaway for me.
They're like, oh, now this is after whatever is going on.
Transpired, basically, right?
Yes.
After all this stuff happens, you realize that when he's talking and they show these scenes earlier on, it's foreshadowing for what they're about to show you, which I thought was pretty cool. I didn't realize until after the fact, obviously, right? I'm like, oh, what is he talking about? But he's actually talking about, which we discussed this. So he says, what is government? Does it have a heartbeat? Does it have 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 eyes, right? Is government capable of revenge? Which is total foreshadowing for what we ended up watching. So we're led through this huge back and forth. They have to find this destructive powder, see something, I forget what they called it. But basically, they're saying a handful of this, like
it's like a dirty nuclear bomb.
It's like a dirty nuclear bomb, and basically could level a city, pretty much. And it was enough to level 5 major cities, should it get out into the wrong hands, basically. Which technically it's out there kind of floating around. People are trying to buy it or whatever, come into contact with it. And then so this contact that Lauren Cohen's character Alice, in the film, supposedly this contact knows where it's at, and that contact happens to be, they call him Lee Nor in the film, right? Iko Uwais, and from there things kind of progress further.
Like they're trying to figure out, like, did he give him wrong information?
Is it just bad intel?
Bad intel, because they come across his locker and the stuff isn't there, and they're like, well, what's going on? You're supposed to be good intel, the stuff isn't there. What's wrong with your contact?
We went through the container. All that was in there was some bogus paintings. Till later on they reveal that the paint, if they scratch it off, was actually the powder.
And which is like, oh, well, I guess he actually gave us credible intel, because the powder and the paints are actually what we were looking for.
Yeah, so and then that ends up being one location, but then he goes to tell them that there's actually 5 locations total where this powder is supposed to be.
Well, after he shows up at their embassy. With a disc.
A disc with the information
that's been coded.
They later revealed that he has put a specific algorithm on the disc that is going to basically self-delete all the information on there, so it'll be worthless in 8 hours. If
they don't get him to basically asylum out of the country.
He wants asylum. He wants to become an American citizen, because apparently the Southeast Asia country that they say he's in, they don't really say. You can kind of surmise what it might be, but apparently he wants out.
Yes.
Because everyone's
today.
Like now. He's like, take me to America now.
Now. You run out of time. Let's go.
Not yesterday, not tomorrow. Now. Yes. And from there, the story picks up. People try to kill him. They have to get, they call him the package at this moment, right? When they key up operations, and they have to basically get him 22 miles to the airfield, right? Hence the name of the film. And they have to get him 22 miles to the airfield and get him up and on his way onto the plane for him to give them the password so they can figure out where all these dirty bombs might be located. Great gunfights in between. I like the fact that they have the motorcycles, but there's not too much on there. Like there's a getaway element, but it's a little bit more realistic in this one, right? Like you can't just completely always stay ahead of the trailing villains, right? They get caught really fast.
So the motorcycles roll up, they got you, they plant a bomb, let's go.
And the fight scenes in the buildings are very reminiscent of The Raid, if you've ever seen it, which the co-star Iko is in. Very close quarters. Even Lauren Cohen's character, who has to face off against this rather large, basically bad guy, so to speak. Interesting fight. She tries to give him the business,
because she's like, I gotta get home to my daughter, so let's do this.
And which, like I said, that's a small payoff to earlier, where she's like kind of upset that she can't talk to her, and then she can't go visit her, she can't be with her.
She's going through this ugly divorce. And so she's basically trying to deal with that, and then also be an agent,
a badass agent.
Yes.
So, like I said, it's a decent payoff, but not as big as I think that they're building up. So, and then after all that, I mean, basically, dude is just whooping butt, and he has handcuffs on half the time. So they finally decide, hey, you know what? You have been helping us, and you're not trying to get away, because obviously we're gonna take you. Handcuffs off, yo. And then that's when he goes to work. And starts, just giving it a business to some people in the building, and tries to corner them. And then that leads to our ending scene. where everything slowly but surely starts to come together.
Yes.
And you realize
that there was an op at the beginning of the movie.
They have been triple crossed.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Because the op at the beginning of the movie, they go in and take this like Russian safe house down, and they kill. Basically, Mark Wahlberg's character kills this kid, and the kid's basically telling her making a big mistake. I made a bunch of my life. Bam. Well, that was basically the son of this high up Russian agent, and was like, I need revenge. So the entire setup and plot was basically to get revenge on this Overwatch team. So
with another Overwatch team.
With another Overwatch team.
Which was apparently better than theirs.
Yes.
They had counterintelligence the entire time.
That they were using him as a basically triple agent?
They basically didn't trust this guy, super highly trained agent. Then he worked his way into making them want to trust him and want to help him. And then got them all killed, basically, except for Mark Wahlberg. Yeah. And clearly, the ending of this film is kind of set up so they could make a sequel.
Yeah.
Or some type of spin-off movie that comes afterward. I would watch it.
Yeah. But it's like the setup for a sequel. Like it's going to face off because the two of them are still there at the end. And like it's going to be a face-off. Like, all right, you killed my people. Now I'm coming back for revenge.
Because initially, they make it seem like Mark Wahlberg has this like kind of twitch that he has because he's like super intelligent and his mind is always active, like overly active, and so he's always pulling this like rubber band on his wrist. Yeah. And so Lee's character is always doing this, right? He's always doing this, and it seems like it's his little quirk to help with him like overthinking things, but it's something that he's taught as a Russian, basically like spy / agent or what have you. So because later on they show the dude who's talking to this high level Russian lady. And he's sitting there doing it like, yes, our plan is coming together. Yeah. Yes. Right? So it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. Yeah. Pretty much no one on his team except for Mark survives, pretty much.
I think it was like part of the revenge. Like, you took my son, so I take your team.
Yeah, it's kind of what it looked like. Yeah. And Lee's character is alive still. Apparently, like, he does what he does and ends up in America?
Or hijacks a plane? I don't know. They didn't really say where he went.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not
sure. He hijacks the plane, so he's somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if he parachuted out of it or where he's at. We just see him walking around. They don't show, like, if he's walking in America. He's just walking around free after this, basically, at that point, doing whatever it is he wants to do, pretty much. So they could easily have a sequel.
Yeah, and you get Mark Wahlberg's character just staring at a picture of him, like, that's his focus right now.
And drops puzzle pieces onto a table. Yeah. Very like huge foreshadowing of him trying to put things together and how does this guy connect to everything or who's connected to this guy? How can he get his payback?
Yes.
So I'd watch it, make the sequel happen. Hopefully next year.
Maybe not next year, but probably.
No, next year is fine. Next year. Don't do it just before Marvel. Probably safe to do it the same time next year. Like they said in the last trailer I saw. One last summer blockbuster.
I don't know. Next year's kind of packed. I don't know if they have room for next year.
Maybe in 2 years.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff next year.
Straight to Netflix.
Netflix. Cash them out.
Cash them out. Okay, write that check, yo.
Write a bunch of them, so might as well.
So at this time, as usual, go ahead and like,
comment,
and subscribe.
Subscribe it down there. Share it.
Click all the buttons.
Share it. Well, that was dislike, but the like and all the other buttons.
Even if you disliked it, that's okay. Let us know why. If there's something you feel that we could do better, if you have a film suggestion that you want us to watch, that you would like us to check out first so you don't have to invest your time in it, we'll do it for you.
Yes.
Exactly.
That's right, bub.
That's right. Really? Wolverine reference?
Yes, I'm wearing the shirt. Gotta have a Wolverine reference.
All right. That's okay. I will accept that. Right?
Yes.
It's the comeback. All right. And that's all from us. Next week. What is next week?
Next week is, well, it's the 1 year anniversary of the show today, but, you know.
There you go. There you go. He got it. He smelled what I was putting down.
Today. 1 year, yo. We've been doing it.
That's right.
1 year.
Consistently.
Maybe we should have said at the beginning. But whatever. You're still here. You heard it.
That's right. Shouts out to everyone that keeps watching. California love, man. We appreciate you. Really, seriously.
But everybody else.
Everyone
Not
else
just
too.
Everybody.
International audiences,
Everybody.
American audiences. Thank you for watching, and we're out. Peace.